Alright, so I have had this Panasonic Lumix LX100 for maybe 3-4 years now. So let's talk about what I like and don't like about it. Alright, and the first thing that I honestly really like about this camera, and it's probably one of the things that I like the most about it, is the form factor and how it looks. Personally, I think this is really important because I enjoy photography a lot more if I enjoy using the camera that I have. But I think it has this sort of old school classic look that makes it look really nice. When you pick it up, I think it feels really good in your hand. It is not heavy, but you can feel that it feels well built. It's not like plasticky. Another thing that I really enjoy about this camera is these dials that you have that are physical dials. You have the shutter speed on top that is super satisfying to move, and it's the same with the aperture with this haptic ring that you can twist that is also super satisfying to use. So yeah, form factor and build quality and how it feels when using it is absolutely one of my favorite parts about this camera. Let's talk little bit about image quality, which is honestly one of the most important parts about the camera. So how good are the images and the video. And honestly, in the beginning I really enjoyed it. It wasn't the best back then either, but now that this camera is, I don't know, 5-6 years old, it is starting to lack a little bit. It only has a micro four thirds sensor, I think. I have used this camera a lot for like street photography and just posting videos and photos online, and for that purpose I think it's alright. It works. It's pretty good at that actually. But when it comes to image quality compared to cameras today, I actually don't think this kind of stands up there anymore. But the main problem is in low light. It's not great in low light conditions. It kind of struggles with the autofocus in low light, and the images come out a little bit grainy. It can't handle the low light situations that great. So when it comes to image quality, I think it's a bit hard because it kind of sits right there in the middle, because you can't really compare it to the cameras of today with the higher end cameras that are really good, but then it isn't like the lowest quality. I would still say that it is good, but it's not like up there still yet anymore. But if any of you guys have this camera, I would love to hear what you think about the image quality, so let me know down below. I don't know if that made sense, but in short, I think the image quality is pretty decent for, you know, normal photography during day, but not quite as good during the darker hours. But let's talk a little bit about the videography features of this camera. This is also one of the features that isn't quite as good in this camera. You don't have the 10-bit 4K and stuff like that we are spoiled with in today's cameras. So the video feature is not great. There is no built-in image stabilization, so handheld is really shaky. But if you put it on a tripod and just do some minor videography, then this camera works for that. So the fact that it doesn't have any built-in stabilization, together with that there is no microphone input and that the built-in microphone is not great, means that it isn't the best camera for vlogging, which is a little bit unfortunate, because a small camera like this with this form factor, you kind of wish that you could do some vlogging or some more videography with it, but I think it's understandable because this is a photography camera. Alright, let's talk a little bit about the lens. And the lens is honestly quite small, but when you start the camera it extends a little bit, and as you zoom it extends even more. But this is a 24 to 75 millimeter lens, and it is a crop censored camera, so have to take that into account as well. But one thing that I don't like about this lens is that the zoom is electronic, and to zoom you have this little wobbly thing here on the shutter button, and I really don't like that. It's slow, and when you increase the zoom it takes a really long time, and yeah, I don't really like that. I would prefer having physical zoom ring, but I understand that they can't fit that into this small package. But yeah, the zoom is something that I don't really like. I don't like this button or twisty thing here on the shutter button. It feels kind of whimsical, and yeah, I don't really like it. But with that said, it is quite impressive with how small it actually is. So it's not a big problem, but just one thing that I don't like. And on top of that, the zoom, or not the zoom ring, the focus ring here is also one thing that I don't like. I would prefer having a bit more resistance or making it a bit larger or something. And another con about this camera is that it has a known poor weather sealing, which is really unfortunate because I've seen people having problem with dust reaching the sensor and then getting stuck on the sensor, and they can't really do anything about it because you can't remove the lens. The fact that it has really poor weather sealing, both dust and water, is really unfortunate. But with that said, with my own experience, I haven't had any problems with it. I have used it outside when it's been raining. I've shot some street photography during rain, and I haven't had any problems with it yet. But I know that it is a known fact or problem that people have had with this camera. So that's something that is important to keep in mind. Well, as I was planning this video, I was kind of thinking about, oh, let's do a video on the Panasonic again and talk about the features that I like and don't like about it after these years. But as I was recording this video, and as you have probably heard, is that I do actually, I realize that now, that I actually have a few cons about this camera that I haven't really thought about before. And something that I didn't really mind in the beginning when I bought this camera, that right now I care about more than I did in the beginning, which is kind of interesting. But I don't want this video to come across as this camera being a really bad camera, because I don't think so. I absolutely love this camera. I love using it. I think it's more just me kind of wishing that it had a bit more features, and that maybe that they would make a Mark III of it, because I think it has so much potential. But now I think it is lacking a little bit too much, which is the reason why I'm not reaching for this camera quite as often as I would hope I would. Because it's nice to have a small form factor camera that you can bring with you, like daily use for travels and stuff, when you don't want to bring your bigger camera with interchangeable lenses. So I think it would be nice if they made an upgrade, and I don't know if they will, because I don't know if the market for a pocket camera is that big anymore. I'm just sitting here thinking out loud, so I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, guys. Personally, I would like to have a pocket camera that I can bring with me. I do a lot of like hikes and stuff when I maybe don't want to bring my larger camera, so having something smaller would be really nice. And for skiing and stuff as well, just having something that can like fit in your pocket is really nice. So with all of this said about this camera, I think it's a great camera. I really love it. I just wish it was a little bit better. Since I'm not that happy with it anymore, maybe it is time for me to start looking at something else and maybe changing it out. I don't know. What do you guys think? So if you have any suggestions which one I should get, please let me know down below. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care and have a good day. Go shoot some photography.